Namaste, everyone. A very warm welcome to you all. Very warm welcome. Thank you. This afternoon, we have an eminent panel of very successful women who have reached very significant positions in the music world. Given their progress and their pace, I would say their achievement is only another milestone in their illustrious careers to be. The purpose here is not to just acknowledge their success, but to talk about their journey, which could have had many high points as well as many pitfalls. In the last decade, digital media has been very empowering, and yet it is a double-edged sword. While there is trending, there's also trolling. I'm confident that the diverse experience of this panel will provide some very inspiring insights to everyone in the audience here today. So that's the part I wrote down, and I had decided I will say, but I'd like to say that I'm so happy, and this is coming straight from the heart. I'm so happy to have all of you here. At Saaveri and Gauri, I have met and interacted with several times before, but this is a first for some of us here. And I really want you to know that it's very kind of you to have accepted to come here. And this is a mission to not only bring out all your successes and all the hurdles that you may have faced, but also to enlighten our students on the going ahead, the pathway ahead for their musical journey. So it's going to be very educative, and I'll thank you once again for coming here. Thank you. Just to start with, can each one of you share with us what was your childhood dream? I mean, are you in the exact space that you dreamt of being in? Or have you, are you currently doing something that one could call a means to the end, let's say? So are you trying to get somewhere and this is a pathway? Yes. Can we start with you, Avanti?
Sure.
Thank you.
Hello, check. Firstly, thank you so much, Padma ji, for having us, and for everyone. You did a wonderful job. We've been told that this is Padma ji's second ever panel that she's ever hosted, so please, unke liye bahut zordar taaliyan. You're doing such an amazing job.
Thank you, Avanti. Thank you.
I've always been obsessed with the intersection between music and the arts and social impact, because I truly believe that art is beyond just the medium. Art is beyond just what it is. It has one of those things that holds the greatest power to move us, not just intellectually, but also at the soul level and through the emotion. So when I was younger, I honestly thought that I would be in the space of health or education and then somehow combine that with the arts. But the older I got and the more performing arts experience I had, and now fortunately being able to do this professionally, I realized that as an artist, you have a platform where you can share your voice, but also uplift the voices of others and, use that in many ways.
Nice. That's a lovely response, I can see. Very nice. Nirmika, can we have...
Absolutely.
Yes.
सबसे पहले बहुत शुक्रिया आपने हमें बुलाया है इतने बढ़िया कंपनी में है, and I really appreciate the question you've asked us today, Padma जी. इतना मतलब introspective question है, और उसके लिए मैंने एक चीज़ लिखी थी. तो जैसे ही आपने पूछा question, तो मेरे जहन में वो आया कि मैं जो बनना चाहती थी जब मैं छोटी थी, वो मैं धीरे-धीरे बन रही हूँ. अभी पूरी तरीके से नहीं बनी. जो मैं बनना चाहती थी, मैं धीरे-धीरे बन रही हूँ, और जो मेरे सारे सपने थे, धीरे-धीरे पूरे हो रहे हैं. And I think that's, and I remember, I mean, I can share it with a lot of people here. When I was 18, so I studied science, and I had, taken a lot of engineering papers, and I cleared engineering. लेकिन एक टाइम ऐसा आया कि आर्ट्स के जो सारे पेपर्स थे, वो भी क्लियर, एंट्रेंस एग्जाम क्लियर कर लिए थे, engineering के भी कर लिए थे, and I was very confused कि क्या करें. और वो जो पैरामीटर होता है मोस्टली आई थिंक फॉर यंग पीपल, वो पेरेंट्स सेट करते हैं या समाज सेट करता है. आई डोंट नो मुझ में कैसा विवेक था उस समय, और व्हाट वाज माय फोरसाइट एंड विजडम. आई चोज हैप्पीनेस फर्स्ट, एंड आई कैन टेल यू एट 35 आई एम सो हैप्पी दैट आई चोज हैप्पीनेस एज अ पैरामीटर. मैंने सोचा कि यार मैं इंजीनियर शायद बन जाऊंगी, लेकिन थर्ड ईयर में बहुत दुखी रहूंगी. But I want to be a journalist, and then eventually want to make a space for creative arts to be fertile as a ground for business, where artists are incentivized. Life का सबसे बड़ा incentive होता है to be stable, also to be sustainable. Money बहुत important है, and if you're able to combine all of those things in a way that makes you genuinely happy, I think वो बहुत ही सच्ची तरक्की है. And I really wish that everyone puts happiness first and very excellence too.
Excellent. I love that response. It kind of resonates with what we spoke in the previous panel, and Vijay Prakash mentioned something similar about joy, finding joy and happiness. That's so pivotal in our journey. At the end of the day, that's most important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mohini.
Firstly, thank you so much for having me. And this is my first ever panel discussion. I'm really happy to be here. I remember coming to Ajivasan when I was really young with my dad, because my dad has actually worked with Surajji a lot. He wouldn't remember me. I was very, very tiny. But I used to hold my dad's hand, and I would love bunking school days and just going to these performance venues and recording sessions, and just to see him record on all these movie songs, and it was really fascinating to me. But it was never my dream. It was my dad's dream. He wanted to have 2 kids. My sister, she plays guitar, and I play the bass, and he wanted us to be musicians, and first thing he wanted was us to be independent. And when we took birth, my parents are originally from Calcutta, and they moved out to Mumbai to pursue music as a professional career. My mom being a musician, singer, and my dad being a bass player, music was always floating in the house, So it's something that you couldn't escape, even if you wanted to. I wanted to become a fashion designer. And today what I'm wearing is also made by me. And a lot of people don't know I also run a clothing line on the side.
Wow.
Yeah, I have my own clothing line on the side. I stitch clothes, I design them, and I have been doing that on the side apart from being a bass player / producer, playing with all the international artists such as Simon Phillips, Vinnie Colaiuta, Quincy Jones, Steve Vai, etc. So many people. I started making my way into the international grounds more. I worked with Mr. A.R. Rahman for 8.5 years. And actually, when I first started working with A.R., I started enjoying music, and music started growing on me, I still didn't know if that's what I wanted. I know it sounds so funny, but who gets those opportunities, But my father worked so hard behind me and my sister, and so I had to kind of, make it count, And I started practicing really hard. I wanted to be independent. Like she said, money is really important, and I wanted to be independent, and money is equals to independence. So, I moved out when I was 17. I moved out, I started living by myself, and started managing myself. Didn't want my dad to control me anymore. So started doing everything by myself, and here I am today.
Thank you for that. Gauri, I'd like you to take that question, please.
So, while listening to all of them, first of all, thank you. And I have been coming here many, many times, and a great fan of whatever Ajivasan does for students. It's about Ajivasan. Prem Didi, Sureshji, thank you so much for doing so much for Abhijat music in India. So while listening to the journey of life here, I felt that this could be yours also, but it would be different for each one of you. But you can see that wherever we start, we will reach to our destination where we want to go, and what destiny takes us to, but happiness is always important. Mine was a very, very musical family, where my father was a head of the department of music, and there was classical music, Indian classical music, always there in the family. And my mom had been a part of Sangeet Natak. So Natya Sangeet and in general music was part of my family and my upbringing. Though like you said, I am a postgrad in biochemistry. But all the while, the music was going for competitions, intercollegiate competitions, inter-university competitions. I had also represented India for SARC, and we had gone to Sri Lanka. So music was always, that is why I say, though I did biochemistry and genetics, but I think music is in my genes. So I took this journey and I became a part where the music was created with various great musicians, singers, producers of India. And some of them were from globally known artists also. And it was a great pleasure for me to work with the goddess Ma Saraswati, as Suresh ji, you also always say, Lata ji, Asha ji, Suresh ji, Sonu ji, whoever, the great minds and talent in music, legendary people. I had that opportunity to work with them and learn a lot of things from them whilst doing the content. So I was not always successful in getting the right content out to you in the market, but most of the time it was a great journey, I would say, simply because there are many minds come together to create music. And one must know that you have to chase your dream the way probably I have chosen to get into the music field. And I'm on the other side of the business where we make sure that the music also makes money. So there would be some more insight here then from others. Thank you.
Nikita.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here. First of all, I'm so young from you all, I guess. I just want to share some, my old stories. So, जब मैं बचपन में इंडियन आइडल देख के मैं बड़ी हुई, सो आई वाज लाइक कि इंडियन आइडल देख कर मुझे गाने का मन हुआ, लाइक इंटरेस्ट मेरे को इंडियन आइडल से आया. देन माय फादर यूज्ड टू सिंग, माय मदर यूज्ड टू सिंग, सो ऑल आर लाइक म्यूजिक लवर्स एट माय होम. सो म्यूजिक चलता रहता था, क्लासेस, म्यूजिक क्लासेस आई यूज्ड टू अटेंड द म्यूजिक क्लासेस इन बनारस. आई एम फ्रॉम बनारस बाय द वे, एंड बनारस इज ऑल लाइक घराना ऑफ म्यूजिक. सो देयर आई classes was going on, but it was not too much on the continuity, so I couldn't go to classes daily.
Right.
So that time chal raha tha, matlab classes were going on 7th 8th 9th 10th 12th, थोड़ा बहुत चल रहा था, लेकिन कंटिन्यूटी नहीं थी. बट देन बड़े होते होते मेरा डिसीजन लाइक लाइफ में क्या करना है. So it was changing every day. I was like, Papa used to tell me what do you want to do. Every day I used to tell him, like, once I told him that I want to be a journalist. Once I told him that I want to be a fashion designer. So after 12th, I did I joined the INFT, which is fashion designing course, for 3 years for the degree course. But I did only for 1 year because I was not taking that career seriously. So I thought this is not my cup of tea, I guess. But that changed a lot in me as a person. 1 year of fashion designing course. So after that, my father told me ki let's do BCom normal. Like you do the graduation first, then we'll see what you want to do next. By the time music my interest tha. So I used to perform in so many of music fest in my college and in schools. So after that, I did that, like the BCom I did. Then again, my father used to ask me, what do you want to do next? And I was like, okay, I had a band in Banaras. So my singer told me that you can do sound engineering, which is very different. And you can actually, nail in that if you are very interested into technical part and all. But I was not that interested, but still I saw what exactly sound engineering is. So I searched few institutes from Bombay, and then I thought ki I'll come and just check once. So I came Bombay with my father. I told him that I want to be a sound engineer first. Then पता नहीं था कि क्या होता है sound engineering actually. तो उस time मैं आई Bombay, and then I just saw, and then faculty member told me that you have to study we need to see whether you are eligible or not for the sound engineering. So I wanted to join. I told them that I'll come back in 2 months. I'll just read about sound engineering and the basic of it. So I came back, and then I joined the classes. I joined the classes of Daman Sood sir, and then there I studied my sound engineering course. I did, and after that, I thought ki now I can, compose the music, because I have a love to compose music and make our own tracks as in indie scenes. So I thought ki I'm able to mix that, my own songs. That's the best part, what I can give to myself, that I can mix it if I learn the basic of sound engineering a bit. Yes. So I thought ki now I can be, I'm able to, mix my own songs as well.
Right,
So now I'm like doing like work as a sound engineer,
As an engineer.
and also I made a few indie songs which is yet to release yet.
Okay.
But still I'll do that.
So you feel like sound engineering is your space? Is that the
Sound engineering is my space. Yeah, it is actually, because since 7 years I've been doing this.
Wow.
Doing job, doing assisting super like
Very nice.
good engineers and good musicians. So yeah,
The true learning happens there. as
true
far as
learning
sound
happening
engineering
there,
is
and side by side my indie scenes are also going there.
Yeah.
I feel like if I compose, and I've composed 7-8 songs
Yes.
of mine right now, but
Yes.
yeah, it's yet to release. So I hope people will love it, and I don't know where this journey will go, but then I'm enjoying the
You're
whole part
enjoying
of it.
Most important, like
Yeah, and this was my first panel discussion, so I'm like very nervous. So I'm so sorry.
my first one happened like 2 hours ago.
But yeah,
so-
but I wanna thank to my parents, because they trusted me
Right.
sending me here
Right.
for sound engineering course, because we all didn't know what exactly this is.
Right.
So yeah, now they are also knowing, and they are very
Yeah,
good too. You know,
yeah.
they are very proud of me. Said that now you're doing really good.
I
So I'm
think-
very thankful to my parents, mom and dad,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
send me here.
That's
and now I'm
very
sitting
nice.
here. That's another opportunity for me. Thank
we
you
have
so
lots
much.
more to hear from you, so we'll come to
Thank
that.
you. Thank
Saaveri,
you.
tell us about
Hello,
your journey.
everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Padma ji. Thank you, Suresh ji, for having me here. So, I'm a lyricist by profession. लेकिन ये ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं था. Earlier, I wanted to be a singer, and I was singing. मेरे पापा गाते हैं, तो he was in रायपुर. He's a doctor too. मेरे मम्मी पापा दोनों डॉक्टर्स हैं. And मेरे डैड की हॉबी थी singing, and he used to sing for आकाशवाणी दूरदर्शन. And I belong to a place called रायपुर, जो छत्तीसगढ़ का कैपिटल है अब. तो मैं उनके साथ गाने सुनते गाने गाते बड़ी हुई, एंड आई ऑलवेज वांटेड टू बी अ सिंगर. कभी किसी ने, मैंने खुद ने नहीं सोचा था कि मैं लिरिसिस्ट होंगी, मैं गाने लिख रही होंगी, बट इट ऑल हैपेंड. मैं जब मैं बॉम्बे आई, और मेरा ड्रीम था सुरेश जी से सीखना. मैं यहाँ की स्टूडेंट रह चुकी हूँ, एंड पद्मा जी को मैं तब से जानती हूँ जब हम यहाँ स्टूडेंट थे. तो मैं ये नहीं कह सकती कि मैंने जो सपना देखा था मैं वो पूरा कर रही हूँ. आई एम अ लिरिसिस्ट. आई नेवर ड्रीम्ड ऑफ बीइंग अ लिरिसिस्ट. सो मैंने लिरिक्स को नहीं चुना है, शायद लिरिक्स ने मुझे चुना हो.
क्या बात है.
बिकॉज इसमें मेरी पढ़ाई भी नहीं हुई. सारी ज़िंदगी मैंने क्लासिकल म्यूज़िक सीखा, और सब कुछ अच्छा चल रहा था. मुझे लगा कि ठीक है, यही चलेगा हमेशा, बिकॉज जब तक सब ठीक चल रहा होता है, कोई भी प्लान B, C, D में तैयार नहीं होता. तो मेरे वोकल कॉर्ड्स ख़राब हो गए, और उसका ऑपरेशन हुआ, और उसके बाद कभी भी मैं वैसे गा नहीं सकी जैसे मैं गाती थी. तो फिर जब कोई अच्छा गाया हुआ हो, जब आपने कोई काम बहुत अच्छा किया हो, तो फिर कम करना बिल्कुल अच्छा नहीं लगता. तो ये तो तय था कि अब मुझे गाना नहीं है, पर ये नहीं पता था कि अब क्या
करना है.
या सो मेरे जो म्यूजिशियन फ्रेंड्स हैं, कंपोजर फ्रेंड्स हैं, हाँ, ये लिखने की चीज़ जो है, ये बचपन में रफ कॉपी के पीछे जब कभी मम्मी से डांट पड़ी तो कुछ एक दर्द भरा शेर, तो दैट आई यूज्ड टू डू. लेकिन वो रफ थैंक यू सो मच. लेकिन रफ कॉपी के आखिरी पन्ने से बॉलीवुड में गाने लिखने तक का ये जो सफ़र है, ये जादू ही बोलूँगी मैं इसको. तो ये शुरू हुआ मेरे अपने फ्रेंड्स के साथ, जिनके साथ जो कंपोजर्स थे, जिनके लिए मैं गाने लिखती थी.
जी.
तो इट वॉज ऑलवेज फॉर बैंक. मतलब हमने बैंक में इतने गाने बनाए.
क्या बात है.
तो पहले हम ये करते रहे. श्रेयस इज़ हियर. ये भी उनमें से एक है जिनके साथ मैंने लिखना शुरू किया था, और शायद मेरा काम अच्छा रहा होगा, तो एक के बाद दूसरी, फिर चौथी, फिर आठवीं, ऐसी अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ मिलते चली गई. एंड
it's a full circle. You've done so much of work for Ajivasan, for my albums,
Of course,
for
yes.
Suresh ji and me.
Of course, yes.
So it's a full circle.
मैं एक और बात याद कर रही थी कि जब मेरा गाना पद्मा जी के साथ रिलीज़ हुआ था, दैट वाज लाइक वन ऑफ माय बिगेस्ट रिलीज उस समय, जो श्रेयस ने कंपोज किया था, एंड सोनू जी के साथ डुएट था पद्मा जी का, जो मैंने लिखा था. और उस समय मुझे यहाँ आने के लिए, मतलब श्रेयस से लिटरली कि श्रेयस मेरे पापा भी आ रहे हैं, मुझे पास चाहिए होगा. तो वहाँ से आज मैं यहाँ बैठी हूँ कि आप लोगों को ये बता सकूँ कि ये जर्नी का कैसे शुरू हुई और कहाँ पहुँची. तो इसको मैं सक्सेस तो नहीं कहूँगी, लेकिन ये प्रोग्रेस तो बहुत ज़्यादा है.
Very nice. Yes, it is.
Yeah, so that is
It's beautiful. It is a journey. We are all on that path. And every day is new learning. I'm learning thanks to my daughter, and now thanks to you guys. आप सब यहाँ आने के लिए राजी हो गए, and we decided that we want to move on from just being an institute that teaches music, and we decided that we would like to create an ecosystem here that every student that's deciding to be on this path, and also the grown-ups, because वातावरण जो है वो बड़ों से बनता है, घर के बड़ों से. Invariably घर के बड़े, I thought I won't say this, but this invariably happens that everyone's in the yesterdays of music. You know, we are not moving from the nostalgia of the yesterdays of music, and there is a today and there's a tomorrow, and we are not prepared because we are not willing to budge. And हम आज के संगीत के लिए बहुत कुछ बोलते हैं because we are unaware of so many dynamics of the times. So that's the awareness that I am seeking to get through all of you here. So the learning is on, is what I was trying to say. I have a question which all of us, I think all the students here would be keen on understanding and knowing. Versatility or genre specificity? So is it, which one works today is what I'm trying to understand. Because back in the days, we were always told, jack of all nahi hote, master of one hona hai. And times, you know, things have moved on, and much as there's no right and wrong, they're parallel worlds at the end of the day. So how can you, any one of you that can please help us and elaborate on the versatility or genre, would you say something about it? What do you think? What's your take on that?
I think that's a very good question. A couple things. So one, my foundational training was also in Hindustani classical. I was a student of Dr. Prabhatre. Oh. And she is 90 years old, living legend. Yeah, and she has been one of the most supportive people of my journey in this independent music space, despite being somebody from Kirana Gharana, from, you know, a more classical space, because for her, she feels that if you don't move with the times are going to move ahead of you, right? Yes. Whether it's in music or whether it's in life, whatever it might be. I think as an independent artist, I used to believe, and when I first started out, people would say, you have to have one lane, you have to have one type of music, and you know that's what you have to be known by. I do agree that it is important to find your sound, and it's important to have a signature artist expression, but that does not have to be specific to genre or language or anything else. It's about who you are and what you embody. And that can come in different ways, right? For example, Mohini, every time I see a picture of her, or look at the picture right behind her, right, you will be not mistaken who is Mohini on this panel, because she has this particular look. Yes. And it's not just about a look. It's not just about a feel. It's about the sound, right? So for example, I sing in multiple different languages. I also do other forms of content beyond music. Wow. And when I first started, people, you know, would give me advice saying that that might dilute the musicianship. Right. But if anything, what I realized is for today's consumers, community, and just the world we live in, we are constantly on our phones doing this, right? You are saturated with so much information. So discoverability can come from anywhere. It doesn't matter that specific medium, right? You might be somebody who's interested in journalism and you might have come across Nirmika's poetry, right? You might be somebody who has watched a cover of Nikita's. You might be somebody who might have come across something Saaveri's done, or you might have seen, you know, the business side if you're interested in that and seen Gauriji's work. So it doesn't matter where that discoverability is coming from, whether that's coming from a video or whether that's coming from a space. So the long and the short, according to me, is it's important to have a form of identity and to keep growing with that. But it doesn't matter as much, in my opinion, what your specific genre is or your specific language is, because today music is universal and you can kind of cut across boundaries with that.
It doesn't affect.
I think there are two things. One is that it's a choice, you know. If you choose to be versatile, then it's your choice, you know, and that's who you are, just like she said, you know. And the second thing is, if you choose to be in one genre, the only downside to that is that you're restricting a lot of doors, you know. If you're only focusing on jazz, you'll be open to playing in a lot of jazz clubs, maybe jazz festivals, but rock festivals won't call you, right? And yes, we should keep ourselves updated with times changing. And keep yourself open. And thanks to social media for that. By doing that, you're getting exposed to a lot of stuff that you wouldn't otherwise, you know? So yeah, I mean, that also has a downside. You can get depressed by looking at so much and getting so much information, right? So it's good to have, I think, a time-based schedule. So you only do that for an hour in a day. Otherwise, it can take away a lot of you and a lot of emotional energy, which ultimately I think should go in your in finishing your genre, in finishing in whatever you want to do. If you're a businesswoman, if you're a fashion designer, if you're a singer, if you're an instrumentalist, artist, you see artists like painters like painting with colors, they spend days and so many months just creating this one piece of artwork, and it takes a lot of hard work. And so if you want to be successful in one thing, then that's what you do. Exactly. Right? But yes, dividing your mind and dividing your focus in different things can divide your attention, and maybe you might not give your 100% in everything. But there are exceptions, I have a lot of friends in the US who are not only amazing musicians, great at their job, but also have an office job on the side. And I don't get it, But that's me. I don't get it. But also people don't get like how I have the time to sew my clothes while I'm touring, So everybody makes time for what they want to do. So it's a choice.
It's a personal thing. I agree with you.
No, also what I feel is when it comes to the business side of it, it is many times about branding. अगर मैं आपको पूछूं कि when I say the name of a singer अनूप जलोटा जी, आपके दिमाग में क्या आता है? भजन आता है. So that has become his branding. Yes. But not necessarily. Anup ji is such a fantastic singer. He sings ghazal so well. He could have been a great Bollywood singer also. But that is the branding, bhajan samrat, we have made it. But when it comes to probably some other singers, take example of Suresh ji. Suresh ji has also done lot of devotional songs. But equally, he has done some other great music also. But that is the branding part of it that many times the audience give to the singers, isn't it? But at the same time, some of the singers with their voice, for example, because you are students sitting here, many of you, Kavita Seth has a typical voice, and some of her Bollywood songs are like, very popular. But at the same time, whenever people think about Kavita Seth ji, they think about Sufi music. It has nothing to do with what she sings. But look at her Rangi Sari right now. It has become a kind of so much popular one on social media. So it is both. Sometimes it is genre, specific singers or artists for us, and sometimes it is versatility.
Right. Nikita, you're into so many things, and I know that you're doing all of them parallelly, equally well, and you're pretty much making one connect with the other. But what's your take on this?
So I feel we should be the master of one. But then, meanwhile, if you're doing that work, like whatever you are master of that, if you are actually liking something else also side by side, if you really want to approach that, so you are you are open to do that also. It's your choice, like how Mohini said that it's a choice. So you can actually do the jack of all exactly. Like now this lockdown also teached us like a lot. We were stuck, the singers, and if we are doing any one thing in this lockdown, so many people have stuck because I'm not actually don't take it on yours and nothing like that. But to be a sound engineer, I'm a sound, so it was helpful for me. I'm a singer as well, but then I worked a lot as a recording engineer, from Banaras to Banaras to Bombay. I used to record online, so it helped me a lot. Then that time I was happy glad that I chose this line as well. So you can be the master of one, but then you both ways actually depends on the person, how the ideas and how they are treating. Now I feel there's another way, there's another field which is voiceover. So I'm now trying that if my voice is good, if my voice is going in some other characters in the film, then why not I can do that as well. So I'm pursuing voiceover as a voiceover artist as well. So like it's actually opening my gates for every field and giving me knowledge side by side for everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's a great example of that. You know, at first she didn't know what she wanted to do, and now she's doing so many things. You know, because she was open-minded.
She was open-minded, which is the
so
point.
I'm like opening my gate for every for the same links, and it's all linked up. The voiceover linked up, the whole industry linked up with all together. So
at the end of the day, you just gotta have fun. You know, if you have fun, you're having fun, do it. You know.
So while recording in the studios, like I was an in-house engineer for like 6 years. So I while recording the artist, I used to be like, I can also do this. This is a small line which I can also do. This director used to be like behind me, and he used to like tell the artist like do like that, and I used to observe that time.
Right.
So it was like very easy for me to catch those things. And sometimes I did also, and then that's how I got to know I can do this as well.
Right.
So why not to do that? So
being open-minded helps.
Yeah, so I did voiceover as well. So not that famous, but then I'm like enjoying everything into it right now.
Right.
So we can be the jack of all as well. So you don't have to think of you can be the just master of one.
Nice.
But one identity should be there. You're
one strong point. One strong
you're
point,
a singer. Yeah, that's what the strong point should be. One, for the bread and butter, you have to be like choose one at least for your say
long term.
survival. That's it.
Survival.
Thank you.
पद्मा जी, सॉरी फॉर इंटरप्टिंग. सो जैसा अभी निकिता ने कहा कि देयर शुड बी वन स्ट्रॉन्ग पॉइंट, तो वो ऐसा नहीं होता मेरे हिसाब से. इट इज़ लाइक कि इफ अगर मैं गा भी रही हूँ, जैसा अभी गौरी ने कहा कि अनूप जी जो हैं वो भजन सम्राट कहलाते हैं, जबकि उन्होंने बहुत सारा कुछ गाया हुआ है. तो यू शुड एक्चुअली कीप ट्राइंग. आप जैसे लिरिसिस्ट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, मैं बोलूँगी मैं सारे जॉनर्स ट्राई करती हूँ, लेकिन जिसमें मुझे ज़्यादा काम मिलता है आई थिंक वो मेरा जॉनरा है जिसमें लोग मुझे ज़्यादा बुलाते हैं. बट आपको सारा कुछ एक्सप्लोर करना है, क्योंकि हो सकता है कि आज जो मैं समझ रही हूँ ये मेरा जॉनर है, कल शायद मैं कुछ दूसरा ट्राई करूँ और वो उससे बेहतर हो जो मैं ऑलरेडी कर रही हूँ. तो किसी चीज़ से मना नहीं करना चाहिए. यू शुड ट्राई एवरीथिंग.
एंड आपको पता भी नहीं होगा जब तक आप ट्राई
नहीं करोगे. दैट्स ट्रू.
Your cases, the lyricist singer turning lyricist was a big leap.
And that helped. क्योंकि जब मैंने सिंगिंग सीखी हुई है तो मुझे मीटर का पता है, मुझे फील का पता है, कि मुझे वर्ड्स का पता है. So that really helped being a lyricist.
So it's a balance of being jack of all. If you put it as learning little bit of multiple subjects around your core subject is definitely helpful.
That's true.
I think that's our conclusion.
That's the perfect
right.
thing.
Yeah. Nirmika, I'd like you to take this question, please. What works most today, setting trends or following them?
Beautiful question. That's the kind of question I would ask on my podcast.
Right.
एक और चीज में while you were all speaking, there's one thing that I think that we might have missed. जब हम बोलते हैं ना कि master of none, jack of all trades, हम mastery के बारे में तो बात ही नहीं कर रहे हैं. The pursuit of excellence, सब लोगों की जो potential जो होता है, capacity जो होती है, अलग होती है. A lot of people can't figure out how you can do many things.
Exactly.
How I can run on say 4 cylinders and some people can run on only half, right? And that really contributes to how much and how beautifully you can do however many things that you can do. And उस पे कोई भी आप ना टैग लगा सकते हो ना लेबल लगा सकते हो. अब किसने बोला है कि मैं हिंदी में नहीं लिख सकती, इंग्लिश में नहीं लिख सकती, जर्नलिज्म नहीं कर सकती, पोइट्री प्रोजेक्ट नहीं कर सकती, अपना बिजनेस नहीं स्टार्ट कर सकती, 4 पॉडकास्ट नहीं कर सकते. वो अपनी कैपेसिटी पे डिपेंड करता है. लेकिन आई थिंक जो चीज़ जिस पर गौर करना चाहिए वो है एक्सेलेंस. इफ़ यू कैन पुट excellence as your biggest virtues, और ये मैं ऐसे नहीं बोल रही, I'm not speaking like हवे में बात करने वाली बात नहीं है, क्योंकि ये बहुत बेसिक चीज़ है. कुछ लोगों को अपने आप ही इस बात का अंदाज होता है कि एक्सेलेंस मेरे लिए क्या है, और आपका बेंचमार्क ऊपर होता रहता है जैसे आप बेटर होते हैं. बट इफ़ यू पुट दैट फर्स्ट, आई नो दैट यू कैन बी एक्सेलेंट एट मैनी थिंग्स. There are so many examples of people who are excellent at many things, even globally. I'll take some popular names, whether it's Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga, Billie Eilish, her brother. All of these people are excellent at many things. It's maybe unfortunate that they have to reveal only one facet to their personality because the business requires so. But they're not, and nobody at any point, any artist is only ever one genre specific. Hum sab versatile hai at all times.
But I think that excellence and being successful is also very subjective, you know. My excellence might not be your excellence, you know. So I think it's okay to be okay sometimes, you know. It's fine.
Absolutely. I think that one has to sort of, peg what their excellence stands at. And it's upon you to raise that benchmark for yourself to be excellent at many things. And I think that's so subjective, given that our definitions of excellence would never be the same.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm excellent, but I'm okay, you know. But you guys think I'm excellent, and it makes me happy.
True.
So there are so many people out there which will agree and not agree. Everybody has opinions, but keeping yourself open to many, many gates is only going to bring you more different things and more versatility to trying out new things, you know? That's just my way of.
Yeah.
Beautifully
looking.
said. Yeah.
And excellence, like Nirmika was rightly saying, that when you get to a point, especially in art, the beauty is when you get to a point, you feel like excellence is that much further away. Like Suriji always says, it's like a mirage. Keeps eluding you. So you get to a point, you think this is where I wanted to get, and then you see, oh my God, there's so much more. So it's a journey. The excellence is like a trip, and we are always on that trip.
And we are always learning from each other.
Exactly.
Always.
Exactly. So coming back to setting trends or following them, Avanti, I was just asking.
Sure. Trend क्या होता है? सबसे पहले, I love to get into the basics of हम लोग क्या describe कर रहे हैं, उसका label क्या है.
जी.
जो चीज सक्सेसफुल हो जाती है, पॉपुलर हो जाती है, जिसके पीछे बहुत मशीनरी रहती है, whether it's marketing or even creative, right? We are all in the business of also building creative think tanks for ourselves. वो बन जाता है trend, right? उसको वो बन जाता है जो, और वो authentic होनी चाहिए. If you go back into anything that became a trend, whether it is a trending song on Instagram right now or any song in the past 5 years, say Pasuri, I'm just taking an example. Get maybe into the basics of why it became so popular, right? Because it was different. It did something to you. The emotional currency that a song or any creative project has, it's very undervalued in our opinion, right? We really have to place a lot of premium on why that song or that piece of art became so relevant. And क्योंकि वो authentic था, क्योंकि और वो trend बन गया. अब उसको देखकर 1000 लोगों ने वो किया है, तो अब वो, they'll keep following the trend. But to break a trend, you have to be authentic. And I think once you break a trend and once you show, hey, that made money and that became successful, I'm sorry, I keep saying money because we are in the business of music, right? And that became profitable for so many people because that's an incentive to create more. That's an incentive for labels and people to invest in you. If that has been able to show another case of being successful, वो trend बन जाएगा. And I think हमारी जिम्मेदारी क्या है as artists or as amplifiers is कि आप मल्टीपल ऑप्शंस दिखाइए कि ये इस ऑथेंटिसिटी से सक्सेसफुल हुआ है, एक और चीज़ को अगर आप यूनिकली बनाएंगे तो वो भी सक्सेसफुल हो सकता है. सो डेफिनेटली डोंट जंप ऑन द बैंड वैगन. I'd be stating the obvious if I told you don't do what everybody is doing. But even if you're doing what everyone's doing, even if you're borrowing a trending audio, say from Instagram and making a reel, please do not copy. You'd know that if the more you'll copy or the more you'll imitate and impersonate, the less people will think of you, as a unique artist. Yeah.
Setting trends takes guts actually, and following may not be always it's the easy way out, I'd say. But what's your take on that, Avanti?
I agree. I do think, however, it is cool because, like we said, there's many different forms of discovery today. Let's take the example of Instagram or trending audio, right? You can put your own spin to something that people are already having conversation about to, again, be more discoverable and also learn more about yourself because not everybody has the capacity to constantly create new trends. Not everybody has the capacity. And when you're starting out in this world, it's hard, right, to find your own voice, to find that own uniqueness. So in my opinion, if you take, say, 100% of the time you have or the work you have toward creation, let's say 10 to 15%, in my opinion, should be something around that's focused on your craft and showcasing that. In my opinion, another 20% should be in terms of like what is happening in the world today and how can I be a part of that conversation, right? So let's say Pasuri, can you sing that song and make a cover of it, but do your completely own unique spin to it? Can you, what has that inspired you to do and how do you showcase that to the world? Whatever it might be. Let's say there's even there might be some other form of trend, right? But it's not about okay, this is what's popular in the world, so let me jump on it and see that I will now get fame from that, because that rarely happens. It's more, this is the conversation people are having, so how do I put my own unique voice and my own unique spin in that conversation? And then the rest of the time, when it comes to actually creating trends, it's not about, okay, let's create a dance and do this, right? A trend can mean absolutely anything. It can be for somebody who is better suited to having a conversation around something. You can, use the tools that are available to you. With social media, you have all these tools where you can have actual conversations, whether that's something as simple as using tools like question stickers, polls, all of these things that exist within the landscape, whether that is doing something, where you have a call to action to your audience, asking them to join in on the conversation, or asking them to also create to something that you've created, whether that's your song or something that you have an idea. If you're a songwriter, perhaps sharing the first few lines of something and saying, hey, what do you think of this? Should I continue it? People might give you their opinions. You'll be surprised. People love, well, maybe you're not surprised, but people love giving their opinions and they love talking about things. So the more opportunity you give them to do that, the more collaborative they feel like they are a part of your process, even if it's a creative process, and the more invested they'll also feel at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, we all want to feel a sense of community. We all want to feel a sense of collaboration. And that can really come from anywhere.
Right. You have a take on this?
I'm the worst person to ask about trends, though, because I'm not thinking when I'm posting videos if I want to set a trend or anything. I just shoot videos when I'm playing my bass at home, or if I'm doing some production work at home, or mixing or mastering for someone. And I just take videos and I educate people of what I'm doing, and they'll learn a thing or two. And I think it's important to have knowledge and understand your audience before you do that. Again, it all comes down to priorities and what your priority is. What is your goal? What type of audience are you trying to hit, So I sometimes, I will educate myself going on trying to learn about, trying to study about YouTube analytics and, Instagram audience and stuff. But it's not something that I enjoy doing, so I don't put too much time in it. But I will see a difference when I do a slow motion video of me just walking in an outfit, and that'll get like 100K views versus me playing bass that'll get like 90K views. So, it's interesting. Or like me showing what's in my bag. That gets like 200K views versus me playing bass that gets like 50K views sometimes, So it's different. But sometimes I'll put like flashy stuff out where I'm dressed up amazingly, looking great, and then playing my bass, and there you go, 500K views.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I don't think about it, but I think they know what they're talking about because I'm not the most knowledgeable person about trends.
Right.
Breaking them.
Yeah, right. Interesting. Making new ones, I guess. That would be it, yeah. You saying something else.
Yeah, if I can just add on to what I think that's showing, right, is one, of course, how our attention spans are so short on these platforms. But more than that, clearly people are interested in seeing the Mohini beyond the bass, right? Yeah. They love the fact that you're a bassist, but they love your style. I mean, clearly you wanted to be a fashion designer, right? Which is why that combination works. They want to see what's going on behind. And today's audiences, they want to understand art and artistry beyond just the voice, right? And in India, that's, in my opinion, a little bit newer of a phenomenon because for years, our popular musicians have been termed playback singers because the context for which they were singing was to visualize for film.
Yes.
But today, as an independent artist, even with this academy, with everything else, they want to know your story. And not everybody's comfortable doing, not everyone's comfortable making YouTube videos, making all of these types of things, but just something that shows them a little bit beyond I sing or I play an instrument. Who are you behind that? What does that mean to you? And I think people want to, because at the end of the day, we're all very voyeuristic. We want hame dekhna, curtain ke piche kya hota hai? We all want to know what's there.
So that's one thing. Or we're just women, and that's a privilege.
Yes. Well, that is. It is a privilege, no doubt. Gauri, I have a question for you. I'm moving the subject a little. The main YouTube channel of Times Music seems to be promoting a lot of new artists. Is there a conscious effort or a strategy here? And if yes, what is the basis of that?
See, it is all about, I should say, good music. It is nothing about, and what is, of course, popular.
Right.
Popular space, because when it is a business,
Right.
we also have to see that what is trending. This could be a trending one today. No, so I mean to say there are some trendsetters, but everybody cannot be a trendsetter. So there are a lot of people who follow the trend, and that is why it becomes a trend. Otherwise, it wouldn't become a trend, isn't it? So what I'm trying to say right now is that any good music will find a taker. अच्छा म्यूजिक बनाओ, कहीं ना कहीं आपको अभी एक ओपन प्लेटफॉर्म है. It is not only about the labels. It is also about you putting your stuff out. So you will find your audience, but you need to be consistent. I think we were talking about it. If you consistently put out, the labels are also there to support artists. But at the same time, you are your own boss in today's time. Let me put it that way. That many good artists may or may not go to labels, and they will put out their own stuff out, and they become, YouTube rage, or the social media influencers. So there is a very openness now.
Right.
You need not be dependent on labels right now.
True.
But at the same time, what I feel as a label, that we are experts sitting.
Exactly.
And we can do everything for you. And you have to only focus on your creativity and your songs. And we are there to support you. So
But,
that is how,
Social media has helped you identify a lot more talent, right?
Yes,
I
of
mean,
course.
social media has
We
played
take a lot of help of social media and a lot of trends also, because we are into the business. So we have to see that what is trending right now, and we follow the trend also sometimes to push our music to the audience. Let me be very clear about it, because I am sitting on the other side, and I really enjoyed Abby V and you doing some stuff, So that is enjoyable, and I get to see a lot of songs. And it is like an Antakshari. What was there on television? You must watch those. Very, very interesting things. So these interesting things are, catching the attention of audience. And that is how I want to push music and my artist to audience.
With regard to labels, actually, Saaveri and Gauri can probably address this one. We've come to understand that Punjabi lyrics are instrumental in the success of a song, and thereby it's become a prerequisite. What's your take on this, Saaveri or Gauri? Whoever can throw some light on this, because it's
ऐसा कुछ नहीं
ऐसा
है.
नहीं है?
ऐसा
पक्का?
कुछ नहीं है. It is a trend, na? So trend तो we will of course follow the trend. But at the same time, we are doing very interesting stuff. That is what is required to get the business.
Right. Right.
But at the same time, there are certain things, if we like the content which is non-Punjabi, Bengali, Marathi, or a ghazal, we definitely put it out.
Right. सावेरी बताओ ना, थोड़ा सा आता ही होगा ना कहीं से प्रेशर की. अरे
बिल्कुल आता है. मतलब हमें ये बोला जाता है कि ये गाना हमें हिंदी पंजाबी लिखना है, या तो हमें बहुत सारी फिल्में देख के और करण जौहर और ये लोगों ने पंजाबी को एक्चुअली इंडिया की दूसरी लैंग्वेज बना दिया है. और इतने गाने सुन सुन के जितनी पंजाबी गाने में चाहिए होती है, उतनी पंजाबी अब तक हम सबको आ गई है. मतलब कभी भी कोई गाना सुन के you'll never be questioning yourself कि इस वर्ड का मतलब क्या है, क्योंकि आपने उसको इतना सुन लिया. सो ये, और मुझे जब ऐसे कुछ आता है और जब मैं लिखती हूँ तो आई ऑलवेज क्रॉस चेक विथ माई पंजाबी फ्रेंड्स कि ये ग्रामर सही है या मैंने कुछ गलत तो नहीं किया है. एंड दैट्स हाउ आई.
बट ऐसे रिक्वेस्ट आते हैं ज्यादा,
ऑफ कोर्स
ये डालो तो
बिल्कुल
और चलेगा गाना.
हाँ, हो सकता है, बिकॉज आई विल टेल यू व्हाट it is today, it is Punjabi, tomorrow it could be Bhojpuri. Bhojpuri is extremely popular right now. So probably tomorrow it could be any other language, Rajasthani, and why not? These are all Indian languages.
and trend तो आज है और कल जाएगा ही, और कल कुछ दूसरा आएगा ही. तो that's all.
बिल्कुल ट्रेंड है इसलिए भी नहीं, बिकॉज पीपल आर एंजॉइंग इट, सो इट इज ऑल्सो फॉर द ऑडियंस, इजंट इट? सो ऑडियंस आर लविंग इट, सो पीपल आर पुटिंग आउट पंजाबी सॉन्ग्स in films. Now it has become like, if you go to the data, Bollywood or Punjabi are highest on the streaming platforms. So then why not?
Why not?
Isn't it?
Yeah. Nirmika, there's a question for you. During COVID, there was a boom in the online music world. How has consumption of music changed post-COVID?
Thank you.
Post-COVID.
Yeah, well, a big question that is. Will require some facts and figures. So तैयार हो जाइए. जो हमारी इंडियन जो म्यूजिक बिजनेस जब हम बोलते हैं ना इंडस्ट्री, तो ये बड़ा एक एम्बिग्यूअस और एमॉर्फस सा एक टर्म है. तो क्या होती है इंडस्ट्री? जब मैं छोटी थी तो मैं भी सोचती थी इंडस्ट्री हमको लगता है सिर्फ जो सिंगर्स गाते हैं उनके बुकिंग्स होते हैं. तो जो इंडियन इंडस्ट्री है वो आपकी रिकॉर्डिंग इंडस्ट्री है, आपकी लाइव इंडस्ट्री है. रिकॉर्डिंग इंडस्ट्री जो है, और इंडस्ट्री वो होती है जहाँ पर बिजनेस ट्रांजैक्शंस होते हैं. हमारी जो इंडस्ट्री है विच इज़ अ वेरी फर्टाइल इंडस्ट्री, जो उसका इफ़ आई वर टू यूज़ अ फिगर, इट्स अबाउट 1600 CR का उसका रेवेन्यू होता है. इतनी बड़ी इंडस्ट्री है, उसमें से 86% जो हैं, दिस इज़ फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस टू नो एज आर्टिस्ट ऑल्सो, 86% स्ट्रीमिंग से आता है रेवेन्यू. मतलब सबसे ज़्यादा प्रॉफिटेबल जो है सेगमेंट वो स्ट्रीमिंग का है, which means that please, if you're artists and releasing music, pay attention to streaming, pay attention to your online presence, whether it's Spotify, Gaana and the other apps that you're on. बाकी जो percentages हैं, just to explain industry है क्या, sync से आता है, sync rights जो होते हैं. उसके बाद you know there are other things like performance rights and the such. जो हमारी live music industry है अभी तक बहुत ही छोटी है, बहुत ही disorganized है, unorganized भी है, वो हमें पता ही है, which is the reason there haven't been enough checks and balances, enough regulation in the live industry. हमारी again कामना ये है कि we are able to regularize it, we are able to synchronize it to the demands and needs of the market. और कंजम्पशन कैसा रहा है पैंडेमिक में, जो हमारा ऑडियो का जो सेगमेंट था ना पद्मा जी एंड एवरीवन, वो ऑडियो कंजम्पशन एक्चुअली रिड्यूस हुआ था. सो ऑल्दो यू वर थिंकिंग दैट हम लोग ज़्यादा म्यूजिक सुन रहे हैं, वो कंजम्पशन रिड्यूस हुआ था बिकॉज पीपल वर नॉट मोबाइल. कि जब लोग कम्यूट नहीं कर रहे हैं, ऑफिस नहीं जा रहे हैं, तो उनका कंजम्पशन कम हुआ. और उससे एक और बड़ी प्रॉब्लम हुई थी, विच आई थिंक ऑल ऑफ यू माइट बी अवेयर ऑफ. स्पॉटिफाई की प्रॉब्लम रही है, नेटफ्लिक्स की प्रॉब्लम रही है, कि हम लोग इंडिया में सुनते म्यूजिक तो बहुत ज़्यादा हैं, लेकिन पेड सब्सक्राइबर नहीं रहते हैं, है ना. ये हमारा खुद इंडियन मेंटालिटी है. वी ऑल वांट टू बी ऑन द गेस्ट लिस्ट, वी ऑल वांट फ्री पासेस, है ना. कोई भी इवेंट होता है, आई एम श्योर आपको भी आज कितने रिक्वेस्ट आए होंगे. सो व्हाइल वी आर वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट लिसनिंग इकोनॉमीज एंड इंडस्ट्रीज, वी आर नॉट पेड subscribers, and I think that needs to change for the business itself to become profitable. अगर हम लोग क्रिएटिविटी में अपनी मतलब हिस्सेदारी मानते हैं, तो वो मॉनेटरी भी ट्रांजैक्शन होना चाहिए. तो ये है बड़े ट्रेंड्स. बट आई थिंक व्हाट्स रियली इंटरेस्टिंग इज दैट देयर हैज बीन एन अपस्विंग इन many social media platforms as primary platforms for release of music, and I think that's amazing. I mean, it's again stating the obvious, Instagram Reels ban chuka hai marketing strategies mein as one of the biggest primary platforms. Pehle kya hota tha, jab India mein TikTok tha, at least 3 साल पहले it would be TikTok, YouTube and then Spotify. तो ऐसे गाना चलता था. अभी ऐसा बिल्कुल चेंज हो गया है. Now it's either Instagram and then you move straight to Spotify. आपने सुना किसी को Instagram पे किसी का डांस वीडियो देखा तो आप जल्दी से सोचेंगे कि अच्छा मेरे को इसका मैंने मुखड़ा सुना, इसका अंतरा क्या है, let me listen to the song. So the consumptions have changed. We are not listening to music anymore. We are watching music. And as Avanti said, we don't love art anymore alone. We love artists and we love the stories of artists, and that's one of the biggest things for everyone to keep in mind, कि आप सिर्फ अपनी कला ही नहीं दिखा रहे हैं, जो कला की आपकी सूरत है, जो खुद की सूरत है, वो भी दिखा रहे हैं. And if there's one big thing that you can do today, it is to brand yourself as an artist and project a very confident, convinced and futuristic sort of artist for the next.
On that note, I have a very personal question. How does one draw the line between how much of your personal life to put out there? I'm just curious, call me old-fashioned, and I just want to know that how do you draw that line? Because
I think सब लोग ये आंसर कर सकते हैं. वो मतलब वो जो रेखा है वो आप खुद ही ड्रॉ करते हैं. Like I'm not sure many people would know कि मेरे what I'm eating on a daily basis. I've taken a personal sort of intention in not focusing on things that don't matter. So for me, I think another thing that I could tell people is आप अपनी life की 3 चीज focus करिए जो आप दिखाना चाहते हैं, जिससे आपको लगता है आपकी artist वाली जो identity है वो bolster होगी या फिर वो uplift होगी. So at least for my Instagram or my social media, as long as it's not about the work that I do in the creative arts, as long as it's not about poetry, या फिर third thing where I'm uplifting women, I will not post about it. So it's very unlikely that you'd know that I'd had coffee this morning or had aloo paratha in the afternoon.
And that's the line she draws. Whereas me, on the other hand, I like to show people that I'm making tea in the morning. And that I have buttered paos in the morning, you know. So, yeah, she's absolutely right about that.
It's about what you would like to, how you would like to be perceived.
And I also like that, you know, I have the choice to make, and I am more than a musician. I'm not just a bass player. I'm also a daughter. So when I go out with my mom shopping, I vlog, you know. I show I'm also a normal human being, you know. I'm going out shopping with my sister. We crack jokes, you know, we eat normal food just like everybody else. So it's good to show that also. That's just me again.
Again, yeah, I understand that.
Each to its own, actually
its own.
speaking.
Yeah,
But what I would love to see Mohini doing certain things because I like her music. And I want to see the person behind that music.
Yeah.
So I will follow whatever she's doing, where she's traveling, her whatever before gig practice sessions. I enjoy that. So it is about, you know, who you are following and what you want to know about that personality as an artist, as a singer, as a painter, as an actor. I love Ranbir Kapoor's Instagram page. It is very, very refreshing. It makes my day. I feel happy about it.
And I think that's why raw videos go viral, you know? Like very raw videos go viral.
Okay. That's interesting. You were, sorry?
I just wanted to say I agree completely. I think it depends on every person's level of comfort because no matter what you put out there, there's a difference between the person you actually are and the persona everybody's consuming. And so no matter what, somebody might be your biggest fan, follow every single thing you do, but what you share online is not every single thing you actually do in your day-to-day basis. It's not what you're thinking. And so just like understanding that slight difference is very important because sometimes what happens is the more you share of yourself, depending on your comfort level, you start to inform what you want to share based on what you think people want to see. And that's where it gets to a dangerous line. First, you should be completely okay with doing it, whether you have one person watching or 1 million people watching. Because that should not matter. It should matter that it's a representation of who you are, the human being, the artist, whatever it is, and then everything else comes together with that. And so I think just remembering that there is that fine line difference and whatever your level of comfort is can also change and evolve over time. When I first started, I didn't share anything, and now I share a lot of my personal life online because that's part of it is cathartic for me. And जब मैं share करती हूँ अपनी कहानियाँ, then I see that other people relate to it and they share their own stories with me of something similar that they may not have been able to talk about, right? And so that gives me personal joy. But I still remember I'm doing it first for myself, whether or not there were people sharing that.
And everybody's audience is very, very different, you know?
Right.
When I met a friend of mine, and she's got a huge following, you know? And that was the first time I met her. But on Instagram, she's so confident and, you know, she's out there and she's sharing every single thing that she does at home and wherever she works, you know? And then I met her in person and she's so shy, you know? Yeah, completely different person, you know? And I asked her friends around and they said, yeah, she's like that. But then when she comes in front of camera, she's a completely different person. So yeah, what Nirmika said, drawing that line, everybody has different priorities. And if that's the thing, if that's how they want to be seen on social media, then that's what they do, you know? But yeah, I have my life.
What you just said is interesting because you said that that's not how she is and she portrays, so it's like a...
Yeah, it's like, you know, she mentioned like she wants to see me backstage, right? She wants to see me prep before the show. I'm quiet before the show. I'm listening to like metal music before the show. You know, even if I'm going on stage playing Carnatic music, I'm listening to heavy metal music.
Nice.
Just to kind of calm me down. You know, everybody's stress busters are different. So yeah, I mean, but that could be interesting. Maybe I'll shoot a video and I'll put it out there that's what I do, you know.
Right.
Sometimes it helps you changing your mood as well. If let's say one day like you're not feeling really good and you want to post something which will distract you from the mood you are having right now,
Right.
So like you post something and then people revert in that, and people revert good always, like all the time, if they are really very loving person to us.
Right.
So yeah, whatever they react, and then it totally changed our mood, like from
Correct.
how we were there, like we were earlier, like before posting and after posting. It like changes our days also as well.
True.
Posting is a very positive attitude also, if we
Right.
take it like that. So
Right,
yeah,
right.
we should post anything, if you're chilling somewhere, you can post it. If you are doing something
but
good,
be
you can
open
post
to
it.
trolls then, because
Exactly.
Yeah,
people
be open to
will
the
have
trolls as well.
opinions, you know.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
I was
think,
going to ask you about
be
that.
open to trolls, as well as don't look into your social media if you're posting anything. If every 1 minute you want to see how many people have seen it,
Yeah, that's-
कितने लोगों ने देखा, मैं कितनी popular हो रही हूँ, मैं
Don't do
कितना
that.
popular हो
Bad
रहा
for the
हूँ.
mental health.
So that is very bad for the mental health. Just put it out, because there are students here. I really want you to put it out, your songs, put out what you feel like, but at the same time, don't get engrossed into what people are thinking about me.
Agree.
Just think about yourself.
Yeah, like I said,
Agree.
liking and disliking is subjective. So what you might like, they might not. But there are people out there that might like. So do it for them. Do it for yourself.
Yeah, do it for yourself, basically.
Do it for you.
Please excuse my language, but opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. So you just need to focus on what you think and what a few close people around you whose opinion you value, whether those are mentors, your gurus, whomever that is in your craft and artistry, and people who know who you are, really, that's what matters. Everyone else is going to have an opinion.
Right. No, the reason why that Nirmika, that I wanted this, I'm liking this flow of the conversation, is because a lot of us, the parent generation, let's say my generation, maybe a generation before me also, is not aware of the ways of social media. I said it in the beginning, or of the digital world, or let's say we comment very easily about आज का music ऐसा है, ऐसे कपड़े क्यों पहनते हैं, क्या personal life है ही नहीं, सब कुछ. So I told a lot of people, I remember telling a lot of people over the past week who said that हम आएंगे. I said you have to come on 6th. We have a lot of activities. I said हम आएंगे, शाम के program पे आएंगे. I said no, you should come for the, if you have to give it a miss, give the program a miss. Although I wouldn't have said that otherwise, but I feel like this is so informative, because it's very important for us to at least see whether we want to resonate, agree, disagree, but at least to be able to see where this is coming from. Just hearing your voices, say what you're saying. In fact, I'm impressed with what Gauri is also saying about wanting to see Mohini, what she does backstage. And this is interesting to have this kind of perception, and for us to know that this is the world out there. You can accept it or not, like you rightly say, it's in a matter, right?
Also, a lot of poetry, it is not only about music, because I also wanted to mention Saaveri's social media. She also makes it very interesting.
Right.
It is not necessarily about poetry, Saaveri, I must say, but you can, so you can talk about it, but she talks about, day-to-day wonderful things
Right.
in life. So
Right.
that makes it very interesting. Yeah.
Yes, so Mary stories, it is all mood driven. Sometimes I may post chai banana, like how Mohini said. Kabhi I would not do that at all, and but yeah, I definitely put out on stories when I'm traveling.
Acha.
Like I'm looking forward to my trip to Banaras tomorrow, and मैं पक्का spam कर रही होंगी pictures से stories.
Right.
So that's very mood driven, I would say.
Right. I had a question for you. Was it difficult for you to break into a very male dominant profession? Here, at least in India, it is.
Well, अगर ये planned होता
जी.
तो मैं शायद इस बारे में सोचती. But it all happened.
Right.
It was never my plan to become a lyricist and to be at par with some male lyricist. ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं था. I just started writing, और जिनको मेरी writing अच्छी लगती गई वो मुझे बुलाते गए लिखने के लिए, और मैं उनके लिए लिखती गई. और मेरा एक और मेरी philosophy है कि जो मुझे आता है मैं वही लिख पाऊंगी, जो मुझे नहीं आता है वो मैं कैसे लिखूंगी.
So there are times you've said that this is not or you do you say that I
नहीं, मुझे बोलने की ज़रूरत नहीं होती. अगर कोई गाना नहीं होता तो वो ऑटोमेटिकली रिजेक्ट हो जाता है.
अच्छा.
वेल ऐसा बहुत कम हुआ है. I've been very very lucky.
Right.
But मैं ये नहीं बोलूँगी कि यहाँ पे अभी तक मेरे साथ ऐसा नहीं हुआ है कि being a female मुझे नहीं बुलाया गया हो या मुझे काम नहीं दिया गया हो. और मैं उस तरफ नहीं देख रही. मैं देख रही हूँ कि जिन लोगों ने मुझे बुलाया है, जो मुझसे काम करवाना चाहते हैं, मैं उनको अपना बेस्ट दूँ विदाउट लुकिंग एट कि किन लोगों ने मुझे नहीं बुलाया.
And I've experienced that with you, Saaveri. I mean, I remember interacting with you over the lyrics of some songs that we had to actually write to a situation. And I remember how cooperative you were about, you understood every nuance of what I was trying to tell you. It was Sureshji and Abby's song.
Of course.
We had, I remember walking in the premise and talking to you, and it was a great experience just being able to do that.
Yes, so मेरा एक और सोचना है जो बहुत सारे लिरिसिस्ट नहीं मानते हैं, और यहाँ पे कुछ लिरिसिस्ट भी बैठे होंगे आई एम श्योर, और कंपोजर्स भी हैं जिनके लिए मैं काम करती हूँ. तो लिरिसिस्ट को अभी तक हम टेक्नीशियन ही बुलाते हैं.
हाँ.
और सॉन्ग राइटर्स टेक्नीशियंस होते हैं. पोएट्स आर नॉट. पोएट्स होते हैं जो अपनी मर्जी का लिखते हैं और उन पे ट्यून्स बनती हैं.
राइट.
सॉन्ग राइटर्स वो होते हैं जिनको एक सिचुएशन, एक मीटर दिया जाता है और हमें उन पे लिखना होता है.
एग्जैक्टली.
तो हम हैं टेक्नीशियंस, क्योंकि हमें वो देना है जो उनको चाहिए. हमें वो नहीं करना है जो हमको अच्छा लग रहा है. क्योंकि वो फिल्म या वो एक म्यूजिक वीडियो है, लाइक आई कुड नॉट बी टेलिंग यू कि नहीं पद्मा जी आप इसको ऐसे मत करो, आप ऐसे करो, बिकॉज यू नो व्हाट योर स्टोरी सेज. तो मुझे वो लिख कर देना है जो आपकी स्टोरी को और उस मीटर को और उस मूड को बेस्ट सूट करे.
राइट.
तो
आपने कभी गाना देखी है इसको ऐसा कर दूं, मैं ऐसा कर दूं, बिकॉज़
with some people I do. जब कभी ऐसा होता है कि I'm very possessive about a few lines, ये बहुत अच्छा हो गया, let's not change it, तब मैं करती हूँ. But mostly मेरे composers श्रेयस मुझे लगता है मुझसे खुश रहते हैं. मेरे composers मुझसे खुश रहते हैं. हाँ, बहुत खुश रहते हैं.
Okay, I have a question for you, Mohini. Just speak on that a little bit. I think I can speak on that because I grew up mostly around men. 95% time I was surrounded by men. My father, Ranjit Barrett, who plays with John McLaughlin, everybody who I grew up playing with were men, you know. And I never felt like being a female was a problem, you know. They treated me like any other. So that whole male dominance thing in the industry, I'm sure some women have had bad experiences. I'm sure we all have in any industry. That's just normal. But you know, life is hard for women and men.
Right.
You know, maybe the stories from men's side don't come out because they don't share as much, because they are scared, because their vulnerable side will come out and it makes them less of a man. But now we're normalizing everything, and we might hear more stories coming from men,
right.
You know.
Right.
But yeah, things are changing. So now this whole thing about every time I get asked like male-dominated industry, it's not anymore. Okay. There are so many women who are ruling the industry,
I agree.
Getting paid more,
right.
You know.
Right.
So
right. You just struck off one of my questions to you, and I'm happy that
Great.
you struck it off for me. But yes, I have a question for you. That we have a lot of parents who come and tell us that their kids, especially now the new generation, is very inclined towards Western music, and yet the parents want them to learn Indian classical. We know that your mother sings Hindustani classical, and what role did classical music play in shaping your career as a musician?
Oh, big time. My mom was also a Bharatnatyam dancer.
Okay.
She has 4 years diploma in Bharatnatyam dancing. She owned a school in Calcutta. Right. I used to take dance classes from her.
Right.
And then when we moved to Calcutta, I'm born and brought up in Mumbai. I know a lot of people think I'm born and brought up in Calcutta, but no, I'm born and brought up in Mumbai. I'm a Bombay bong.
Huh.
And, you know, when we moved here, and especially for a father being a bass player, and at that time being a bass player and surviving was really hard, you know. To be anything in the music industry is hard. It's a struggle, you know. So they both paired up together, and they had a band together, and they were working really hard. I remember times when my parents would save up money just to feed me, and they would eat food out of garbage, you know. There were times where I remember my father had to sell his bass for my birth, you know. And then when I started working, and I started bringing the money, and then we bought our first home, and my father used to play through this like really busted bass guitar processor. We didn't even have an amp or anything. It was a busted bass guitar that was handmade, that I learned to play bass on. And I was 3 at that time, and I was tapping the right tempo, talam, when my dad was practicing. And I had the headphones on my ears, and that's when Dad realized that I have music in me, and then it just like that started giving me lessons from that age, and I started becoming serious at the age of 6 or 7, and having mom in the house, and she was always doing her riyaz every day, and I would see my mom and dad jamming, together. And my dad is like completely different, like coming from a Western background, and mom from like this classical background. It was fusion in the house, and they had like friends come over at home, and I would see them like play together. So it was like a real world experience, real world learning, I think that's what kind of made me who I am today. I'm a fusion baby. I have worked with so many jazz artists, I've worked with so many metal musicians, rock musicians, but also in the South with so many Carnatic musicians, and in the pop set with AR, of course. And I've played with Japanese bands, I've toured with them for, 2 years. And so I guess life keeps throwing challenges at you. And if you want to do it, you go ahead, prioritize that. It's been 18 and a half years I've been in the music industry working professionally, So I might miss a lot of things.
Very, very, very glad to know that.
Thank you.
Amazing. That's quite material. Avanti, I had a quick question for you. We see a very real and candid version of you on Instagram. Where does the fearlessness, which I just witnessed even now, of speaking about so-called taboo or controversial topics come from? And then there's a question for you.
Thank you, that's very kind of you. Also, apologies for stepping out. I had something in my throat. Figured that I would take care of that. I think part of it comes from just in general confidence, comes from a belief in yourself. And it took me a long time to get to that place personally. And when I felt like I was at that place personally, recognizing how long it took me to get there, being able to show that version of myself, I know makes me feel very empowered. And I have seen in turn how it makes other people feel a similar way, where they feel like they can also be candid about their lives. They can also, come to a place where they talk about certain things. When it comes to talking about certain taboo topics and subjects, not only do we talk about them, but we sometimes make music around them, right? I have a song called Sundolo, which is about mental health, and we released it earlier last year. We partnered with 50 different mental health organizations all across India, and till date, every single day, someone or the other reaches out, either from one of those organizations or someone from our community. And because for a lot of people, talking about mental health is still a stigma. And beyond that, even accessing care, accessing resources is even more difficult. So if anybody is interested, we have a whole list of organizations we partner with, and they go saying they come from this song and they're able to get free or subsidized access to therapy. Because these are certain things, these are resources and privileges that not everybody is able to have. And what I realized, kind of what I mentioned at the beginning, was music is so powerful, art is so powerful. So many people have shared that, say, that song in particular, they've been able to play it in the background in their house. And all the song is, the primary chorus is Sundolo, which somebody is saying that, please listen, I'm struggling. And the responses and the refrain is the things that people usually say in society, like, log kya karenge, muskura ke dekho, ye tera wahm hai. And those types of things. And people have shared stories where they have just played the song in the background in their homes. And it's been the thing that has been able to explain to, say, their parents what they've been trying to share for years. They've showed them the music video, and without having to explain, because conversations got into a wall, they're visually able to see and understand what that is like. And so recognizing the power of that And I think, recognizing a sense of privilege, with great power comes great responsibility. So because I'm in a place where I have the privilege to be able to talk about these things in spaces with my family, in spaces with my friends, I've had the educational background to understand these topics, talk about them. I see it as a part of my responsibility to be able to talk about that and shatter those norms and those spaces more than anything else. Totally it is. It's a really good, especially coming at this young age, I find that really good. I had a question that was, is there a trolling disparity between men and women? So, do you see that? Can you tell us more about that? My simple answer, absolutely. And just for an example, a woman does something on the internet and someone doesn't agree with it, someone will send them a rape threat. Not only that, let's take a popular example. When Virat did not perform well in whatever recent match, people were sending rape threats to his wife and his daughter and his mother. We perceive women as objects so much, and that's so that conditioning is so present in society that's just the baseline. So I 100% agree that there is a huge, and part of that is also because a lot of trolling culture tends to originate from men. So often seeing a woman who has her own voice, has a powerful voice, feels threatening to a lot of people. And I find that is, part of the origin of that. It doesn't make it okay whatsoever, and there are amazing resources to report if you get any kinds of, cyberbullying or cyber threats. But I completely agree that there's double standard, and I'm curious.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree more with Avanti. मुझे लगता है one of my favorite. I just threw like a question at you. How many of you call yourself feminists? Can I have a show of hands? Feminists. I'm just counting. Maybe some 12 odd people, and people who are confused about what feminism means, and which is why they haven't raised their hands. Can you give me a show of hands? Confused? It's okay to be confused. I'm guessing the rest of you all are vehement non-feminists. So yeah, that's what I'm going to ask a very simple question. क्या सब लोग यहाँ पर ये मानते हैं कि जो opportunities औरतों को मिलनी चाहिए वो आदमियों को भी मिलनी चाहिए and vice versa? Can I hear a yes? Yes. क्या सब लोग मानते हैं कि level playing field सेव होना चाहिए? Yes. और तभी compete करना चाहिए, और जिनका level playing field अगर playing field level नहीं है तो फिर level पर लाना चाहिए. Congratulations, आप सब feminist हैं. नारीवाद सिर्फ नारियों के लिए नहीं है, और पितृसत्ता मतलब पेट्रियार्की के जिस कुएं से आदमी पीते हैं उस कुएं से औरतें भी पीती हैं. ये कमला भसीन ने कहा था, वन ऑफ माय फेवरेट फेमिनिस्ट्स. तो ये सिर्फ औरतों की जिम्मेदारी नहीं है कि वो औरतों को सपोर्ट करें, ये सबकी जिम्मेदारी है कि हम सबको सपोर्ट करें जिनको नहीं सपोर्ट मिला है. इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि हमको प्रॉब्लम है आदमियों से, हमको कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं है किसी से भी. और ये जो क्वेश्चंस होते हैं ना कि बिहाइंड एवरी सक्सेसफुल मैन देयर इज अ वुमन, वुमन के पीछे आदमी, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं होता. बिहाइंड एवरी सक्सेसफुल एनीबडी इज एन आर्मी ऑफ पीपल दैट एम्पावर देम, is an army of people that amplify them, that support them, that make a cause for their success. Because हमारे success में चाहे हम औरत हैं, आदमी है, नॉन बाइनरी है, सबका सक्सेस है. हम सब एक साथ ही बढ़ेंगे. एंड येस, ट्रोलिंग इसलिए होती है, और केवल आदमियों से नहीं होती है, औरतों से भी होती है, औरतों के लिए होती है. बिकॉज वी आर ऑल प्रोडक्ट्स ऑफ पेट्रियार्की, वी आर ऑल ड्रॉइंग फ्रॉम द सेम पूल, एंड it should be our cause right now to upset that and to redress that balance. ट्रोलिंग क्यों होती है हमको सब पता है. सब लोग इनसिक्योर हैं. there is safety in numbers, there is safety in being anonymous. ट्रोलिंग इसलिए करते हैं. सबसे ईजीएस्ट चीज़ है, सबसे करेजियस चीज़ क्या है? स्टेज पर आना. सिड ने बोला था, स्टेज पर आना, अपनी शक्ल दिखाना, अपने जो ख्याल है वो व्यक्त करना, वो करेजियस है. जो आप कर रहे हैं पद्मा जी, बहुत करेजियस है. जो हम सब कर रहे हैं आज, करेजियस है. सो एंड जो आप आए हैं हमें सुन रहे हैं, वो भी करेजियस है. जो इंटरनेट पर जो बॉट्स हैं वो करेजियस नहीं है. And I think that
the more we recognize it, and the more we stop laughing and trolling that has become very normalized. Normalization बहुत चीजों से भी होती है. आपने देखा होगा इंटरनेट पे बहुत सारे creators हैं which partake in or participate in only creating funny content around women who are funny or women who are toxic. Right? So women laughing at women. That's become a very popular form. और वो बहुत popular हो रहे हैं और हम हंसते भी हैं क्योंकि शायद हमने ऐसी अपनी मासी, चाची, ताई देखी होगी जो अपनी बहू, सास को मतलब टॉक्सिसिटी से मतलब कर रहे हैं. I think it's pertinent. हम लोग creative लोग हैं तो creativity पे अगर जरा जोर करें तो that will be really beautiful for all of us. Thank you. I think that it's upon us to really change culture.
Absolutely. In fact, I was just so commented. जैसे इनका बोल रहे थे, there was this thing, behind every successful man, there's a woman, so who stands behind a successful woman? So this was, I think, focus on the quality of work regardless of the gender of woman. Yes, yes. So I completely agree with that. I resonate with that. In fact, to be honest, I personally am not a fan of segregating in the first place. Like you rightly said, I can't say that we did write women in music, but let me be honest with you, it was purely about music and women. It was not about, and I remember having small little debates and discussions in my office when we were building up because I had to work with the team because I didn't know some of them well and I obviously read up. But I kept saying, and each night I slept, you won't believe how many times I wrote the prologue where I was refusing to focus and make it look like women in music as a woman empowerment kind of a subject. I didn't want to because some point in time when I was, in an interview and I had said that it should just be a way of life. I would like it as something that society used to do. It's not we believe it is, and that's how it has to be. So I
छोटी सी चीज मेरे को बोला है. I think हम शायद मिस करते हैं. मैं बड़ा facts and figures हम लोग को बहुत process करना होता है. While they're saying that women are in music and they're really taking leadership positions, मैं छोटा सा fact आपको बता दूँ कि women are grossly underrepresented in music. एक स्टडी होती है Spotify की और USC Annenberg स्टडी है. आप जरा प्लीज पढ़िएगा, सबके लिए बहुत important है. Which looks at the participation of women artists in the top 100 Billboard songs. तो उसकी मतलब वो बिल्कुल इंस्पेक्शन करते हैं, देखते हैं कि एक जो 100 गाने हैं इनमें कितने विमेन टेक्नीशियंस थे, कितने सिंगर्स थे, कितने मैनेजर्स थे, कितने प्रोड्यूसर्स थे. और आप मानेंगे नहीं, while we see people like Beyonce, Taylor Swift really breaking charts and breaking records and topping charts, or we see the women, glamorous women on the covers of magazines and all of that is also a myth. अभी तक केवल 2% women आर्टिस्ट को प्रोड्यूसर क्रेडिट्स मिलते हैं. आपको खुद ही पता होगा, कभी भी बैक स्टेज देख लेते हैं कितने वुमेन है, कितने मेन है. तो which is why having a topic that says women in music बहुत important है. ये लेवल हमको ओन करना पड़ेगा. हम लोग बहुत ही कम है संख्या में, हमको अभी लग रहा है.
And in India, like I said, 18 and a half years in the industry, I'm the only one backstage, female, only one. Instrumentalist, and I mostly play with instrumentalists. I'm the only one. For an example, when a man goes to the office, he works every single day of his life, and then comes the time where he's expecting a promotion, right? And then he learns that he is not getting a promotion, and the boss goes, "You could have done this, you could have done that, maybe next year." Either the guy is going to switch companies or keep working his butt off, right? And it's kind of the same with being a musician, an artist. When you work with a band in the initial years, everybody gets equal pay, right? When it's a small band, when you're doing these club shows and stuff. And then comes a point where it's like, oh, now the band is getting some recognition. There comes the hierarchy. If you have a singer in the band, no, I should get more because I wrote the lyrics and I wrote the tunes. But then the band is like, but we made the arrangements, So then comes there is disadvantages of being in certain positions in a band sometimes, but you can either switch band and have an independent life and as an independent artist, or just move to another band completely. So regardless of being a woman or a man, it's just something every person has to go through. It's a journey, It's a battle that everybody has to fight, When I started out played in a band and I got a certain amount, and then I thought, you know what, I deserve at least this much now. I've done this 2 years and I've worked on myself really hard. I think I should switch bands. It's not exciting anymore. So I switched bands until I kept doing it, and then I came to a point where it's like, now I don't need to do this anymore. I'm writing songs on the side, let's have my own band. So it's a journey. Everybody has a different battle to fight, regardless of the gender.
So then in that case, here's to really empower women. We have a timeline that I'm being indicated to constantly follow. Therefore, otherwise, this is turning out to be a very interesting discussion, very enlightening, to be honest. And I guess all of us have to, I mean, men or women, we have to work. Like she rightly said, there are battles to be fought and won. So all of us just need to keep doing what we are doing. These are some really good examples of women who are self-empowered, I'd say. And they are working hard and they have an opinion and they are confident to state their opinion. So,
I just want to say, sorry. I just want to say 2 lines that let's just not run towards the success. Basically, you just don't give up.
Right.
You should not run towards the success. You know,
Right.
you just love the
Just
journey
keep
of
at- yes.
going to the
Yes.
to the success.
Yes.
So celebrate each and every achievements what you guys are getting it.
True.
Even if the small things, you know, even if you're getting anything which you like, which you want to buy, then celebrate that as well.
Exactly.
Because if you don't get success, like if you don't get there, at least you don't regret the whole journey, what you actually did to get the success. So at least you have those memories, those, things not to get regret. So enjoy each and every achievements of yours. And I just wish everybody gets that success,
Right.
So
Don't treat it as a race. It's
don't treat it as a
just
race.
enjoy.
It's
Don't
it's
miss out
your
on the
own
happiness.
thing. It's your own success. So,
True,
yeah.
true. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank you.
Nikita. That was very useful. Thank you, everyone here, for coming here today and sharing all of your points of view with us. Thank you, Nirmika. Thank you, Avanti. Thank you, Mohini. Thank you, Gauri. Thank you, Saaveri and Nikita.